This video and this audio, depending where you're actually getting this, you could be on my podcast right now, my app, or you could be watching this on YouTube, you could be listening to it live. But wherever you're watching or listening this, now or in the future, this is going to be really important in a couple of ways, because it's going to be related to society, it's going to be related to yourself, and it's going to be really related to your core values. And I'm going to warn you, some things that I might say might not resonate with you. Because more often than not, we go through stages. We go through ideas of what truth is. I mean, have you ever been in an argument with someone and you were so right? I mean, you just knew you were right. Everything about your argument, it doesn't have to be a negative argument, just like your case, was absolutely true for you. And then, maybe a week or two later, you're like, oh my goodness, how did I even say that? Because I don't believe that anymore. I mean, we've all gone through changes of beliefs, right? When sometimes we believed we were not worthy, to then hopefully that you are worthy. If not, stay with me. You're going to be getting there by listening and to watching my stuff. And that's my goal for you, to feel absolute total self-worth. But we've got beliefs about being a smoker to a non-smoker. You see, beliefs change all the time, and depending on the beliefs that you have will dictate the level of truth that you have, or your experience of what your personal truth is. I've always said my words, my thoughts for you on these videos and audios is simply my own personal truth. I don't expect you or even want you to take them on as your own personal truth until you start to try these things out. I mean, that's how I have learned my own personal truth, and I want you to find your own one. So take what you want, take what you need. But we all go through phases of believing in something, and it could be absolutely anything. It could be believing in a certain politician and suddenly realizing that politician's not such a nice guy or nice girl anymore. We all go through these different phases, but the type of phases I want to be going and speaking to you about is the phases of truth which may push up against your boundaries at first, or it might be stopping you in on your path, your journey to personal development, to self-acceptance, self-love, confidence, all those things. We have to get that into our mind, what I'm about to say, because you might be actually fighting against your own transformation, which sounds weird in itself. Why would you fight against your own transformation? Well, we fight against our own transformation because of the beliefs that we have. I've worked with people in the past and they've said they absolutely cannot be hypnotized, and they're holding on to not being hypnotized. Now, eventually, I usually get them to go into trance. I mean, I haven't really had anyone in person who hasn't gone into a trance. But some people really try to hold back, as if hypnosis is this weird thing. They want to change, but they think hypnosis is something that is just holding them back, that causes them to not want to go into trance. So it's a weird kind of mindset to have. But we have to think about our belief systems and how are they actually serving us? How are they actually causing us to stay the same, or actually allowing us to grow as a way of being in this world? Because it goes through 3 phases. I'm going to get to those phases soon, but I want you just to get that in your mind, that sometimes your very own belief systems, conscious ones and unconscious ones, will get in the way of what truth is. Now, as I said, truth is whatever it will become to you. I mean, hopefully it gets to that point where you realize how awesome and how worthy and good enough and capable you are. But we're not all there, and I totally understand that. I know I wasn't there. But when we begin to apply this at a conscious level, we'll start to make changes at an unconscious level. You see, the unconscious mind runs the beliefs, and it also runs our values, and that's the other part of it. We have the belief systems which hold us back, but also we have our values in life, the things which are important to us. Values are the things which drive us forward or actually make us not do anything. If we have a high value for money, like a real core of high value for money, you're going to be a go-getter, you're going to get that money. If you got a high value for family, the chances are you're going to want to have a family or have a family and want to keep on adding to that family because you love that family connection. Or you want to be around your family all the time. But these values of ours and our belief systems dictate what we do in life and also how we react to life. So when someone says something to you, and sometimes you may have got this from me as well, especially when I go to this whole mindset of taking responsibility, some people dislike that. Because I'm almost saying, look, If you want to make changes in life, you're going to have to take responsibility for where you are, also in a way where you've been, because of the decisions you've made in the past have led you to this point, and then suddenly they're like, oh, I don't like this, Joseph. You're trying to say that it's my fault, which of course I'm not. I'm just saying the decisions that we've made based on our reactions to what we've gone through have just simply led us up to this point. So that's really taking responsibility in an empowering way, especially for this moment. But sometimes when I say that, it pushes up against people's values and they go, no way, I'm not going to take responsibility for this. It's the economy's fault. It's my boss's fault. It's my ex-partner's fault. It's because this happened in my life. And suddenly they're holding back. They're stopping themselves express the true nature of who they are, which is one of learning and growth and love. But they're holding back in that situation because they don't want to take responsibility. So when that happens, they repel to it, they repel from it. So some things that we say to people in our life, especially for me as a coach, people may repel because it's hitting up against their core belief systems. If it's hitting up against their values. I mean, there's some people in the world who will hold on to a belief system where even they know it's not true. But they've had it for so long that they just think that that is the only way of being. They're just holding tight and they do not want to let it go at an unconscious level or conscious level, depending which one. But they don't want to let it go, and it stops them to get to where they want to be because it's pushing up against their value. It comes across as an attack. Now, it's not an attack. When I tell you guys, look, if we want to make changes in the world, we got to take responsibility for our life. Some people, the small percent, or let's say a large percent, will go, yes, I'm ready to take responsibility. But the small percent will feel sometimes that that's an attack on who they are because they've had their reasons or even their excuses for so long that it doesn't fit right with them. So when we're in an argument with someone, or when we're talking to someone, we're trying to express our opinion, you might be getting some resistance. Or if you want a big dream or a big goal that you're already heading somewhere, and then someone comes to you with resistance trying to shut down your goal, trying to shut down your dream, it's because they're facing resistance to what is possible. You see, people have their own viewpoints, their own belief systems, depending on how they see the world or what they believe their own capabilities are. So if you say to them, look, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or I'm going to make massive changes in this world, and then they go, look, you're not good enough for that. How can you possibly do that? You don't have the financial resources. You don't have the ability to do that. You're pushing up against their value by even just saying your own dream. So that's how weird and wonderful humans are, that you could be expressing your own joy and love for your own dreams and goals, and then other people try to shut you down because they don't have the necessary resources, they don't have the necessary insight, they don't have the necessary ability in that moment, because we all have the ability deep down, but they don't have the ability in that moment to see other viewpoints because they're so used to their own life, their own perception. So we may get resistance in people, but as I said, we might be the one resisting that change. That's where it really has an effect on both levels. We could be getting resistance from the external, or we may be resisting it on the internal. So the things that we're doing on the inside, our mind and body and our soul, all those kind of things, those cool things, the things we're doing on the inside, and those people on the outside. So when we're sharing our dream, we're sharing our vision, they're trying to hate on us, they're trying to shut us down, they're trying to say, you can't do that, who says you have the right to live a happy life? I mean, we've probably met people like that, right? Who, they just don't want people to be happy. They just don't want people to experience joy. Why? Because they're not happy in their own life. Think of it like the whole bully mentality. Bullies usually have a low self-esteem, so they try to bring other people down. And if you think of it like this, if you're trying to reach up and they don't feel that they can reach up with you, guess what? They're going to try to take you down to that level because you're pushing up against their values, their personal truth. Now, so let me explain the 3 phases. Because once we get this, we can do a few things. We can be at peace that we're just doing our thing and we're just enjoying it and we're going for life the way we want to and just knowing that that's their stuff. Or if it's an internal thing, we can realize what's happening beneath the surface that if we start to work upon will cause us to enjoy things more. It's going to allow us to experience things on a deeper level, like a better level of happiness. So let's go through those three phases of truth. So the first phase of truth is when it gets absolutely ridiculed. And you'll probably know this through history. So when people said when they all thought the earth was flat, and when someone said it's round, they're like, that is ridiculous. How dare you say that? I mean, that's the most absurd thing that has ever been said. And you might have come across with someone like that who's just ridiculed your dream or ridiculed your aspirations or your desires. And that is really the first stage, or first phase. It doesn't really matter, but the first stage or phase is ridiculed. So you will be ridiculed for having your dream or saying something or speaking your personal truth, because it's so beyond their mindset in that moment. It's so beyond their present awareness of what is possible, what can be done, and they're relating it so much to their own internal conflicts or their own situations, their own temporary limitations, that they begin to just ridicule, okay? They begin to ridicule your dream. So we can almost be at peace and, okay, one of the first phases, or one of the three phases, I get ridiculed. So what then? If I know that that's just what happens to get truth, like that's level one, I can be okay with ridicule. I've been ridiculed for doing what I do. I've been ridiculed for having dreams and aspirations. They've said, hey Joseph, how can you ever think that you can reach people? You're too young, or you're too old, or you don't look right, you speak funny, all those kind of things, because they're basing it on their own experience, and they ridiculed me in the past for doing what I'm doing, my goals and aspirations, or even what I'm presently doing for that matter, and I'm at peace with that, because that's their own stuff, and I know that that's one of the phases. If I want one of my goals or one of my dreams to really come into fruition, I must be prepared for people to ridicule my dream. Because if I ridicule myself, if I get ridiculed and then I just give up, then no one wins. No one wins whatsoever. So be at peace that people will ridicule you. And it's okay. Why? Because it's just their stuff and it shouldn't be any of your business anyway. You should not be as nosy to take on other people's belief systems about you, because it's totally not about you. It's all about them. Other people's opinions are none of your business. So when they are trying to ridicule you, I know it's hard. I know I'm trying to make light of it, trying to make a bit of fun about it, but I know it's a real situation. But at least be as gentle as you can in a situation that people will ridicule you for having a dream or goal because it's way beyond their reality. In that moment, because we can all change, we can all transform, we can all have awakenings. You've had these before in the past when you were stuck in one way. You may be even experiencing them already. But the first phase is ridicule. Now the second one is violently opposed. That's what they say in psychology. The second phase is violently opposed, which really means that people get angry about you going for your dream, you going for your goal. Have you ever experienced that when people visibly get angry that how dare you do this? So they've actually moved from ridicule because now you're starting to make changes. Now they're starting to get angry, and that's why you could say the term haters come about, because they're hating on you, and hate is a level of anger, is a version of anger. Anger's more, but hate comes from anger, it breeds from anger. So that violently opposed is really you beginning to show something happening in your life. You're starting to grow something. In phase one, when you're going for it and you've been ridiculed, now you planted the seeds in your life into your dreams and your goals, and they're starting to flourish. You're going to start to see that little bit of leaf kind of pop out, and you're going to really start to enjoy things and start to see your progress happening, because you know it takes time, but beneath the surface, you've been working, and now it's starting to come into fruition. And now they have an experience where something's quite weird, because now it's going against their belief systems of what is possible, the real truth of nature of your goals and dreams, so they start to get violently opposed to it. And that is why people get angry about your goals and dreams, after being ridiculed, because now you're pushing up to their values even more. You're almost, in the first phase, they're ridiculing and say, oh, that's not possible. But now you're showing them that something's happening. And then they're like, oh, this is really pushing up against my system. There's really pushing up about my values and my belief systems in the world, which I've held on for so long, for many, many years. And I've been told this for generations and generations. And then that ridicule goes into that violently opposed, that anger or that hate. So once again, phase 1, ridiculed. Be at peace. People will ridicule you for having dreams and goals. It happens. Many people have got ridiculed, told they can or cannot do something, but they did it anyway because it wasn't anyone else's business but their own to make the changes they wanted. So be at peace with that. And then be at peace that sometimes people get angry or begin to hate on your dream when you start to make things happen. When you start to begin to be that success. When you start to make that change, sometimes the violently opposed phase, the anger, the hate begins to happen. So be at peace with it. Keep on hustling away, doing what you're doing to get to where you need to be. Because there's tension. You're pushing up against their model of the world, their viewpoint, and then they're like, oh, this is really weird because I'm seeing some level of truth because that person's going for their dream, but I'm really angry about it because I can't have that just yet. Because now you know that this is not just one person or two people, there's just humans. Humans do this. They just go through that second phase of just getting a little bit angry and hating. But then the beautiful thing is, phase 3. Now phase or stage 3 is accepted as self-evident. You see, once you start to really achieve your goal and you start to be the person who be the change you want to see in the people or in your life, they will then begin to see total truth. See, on the second phase, they're starting to, and that's why they're getting angry, but once they have that truth, that reality, it becomes self-evident truth. And that means you're starting to really inspire them. Now, of course, people go through these different stages for a different prolonged amount of times based on our belief systems, based on how long people want to keep the issue, because some people just want to keep it forever and not willing to do anything about it. But now you know, first phase is ridiculed, so be prepared to be ridiculed. Second phase is violently opposed, so be aware. Once you start to push up against their boundaries and you're succeeding more, you're going to get more haters sometimes. And then 3, though, the beautiful phase, which we're really all heading for, is the self-evident evidence of truth. That is when they're starting to realize it's possible. I mean, you think about it, I always get this, is it the 5-minute mile or the 4-minute mile? I can't remember which one it was. But no one could break that. No one at all. And they all thought it was completely impossible. And I don't know if they necessarily ridiculed someone saying that they could do it or got angry about it. Maybe they did. I don't know the details there. But as soon as that person, was it Roger Bannister, I think, he broke that record. And then suddenly people were like, oh, self-evident truth. So they got straight to that third phase of actually it is possible because someone has done it. And then guess what? Within 30 days, it got broken 2 or 3 more times by other people because they've lifted their own limitations because they've seen new truth. They've seen a new reality. So it becomes more accepted that it's possible. Okay? I hope that makes sense so far. So we're going through those 3 stages. And as you can tell, I've been talking about the external. But in the beginning, I was talking about internal, how we do this ourselves, and also when people are doing that to you. So be prepared. It's okay. That's just the third phase. So realize if they're saying something, just go in your mind. They're on phase 1. Their ridicule phase. That's okay. I have no problem with that. I'm just going to keep on hustling away, doing what I do, because I know my dream is so much more empowering for myself to go for than to just give up on, okay? And then if you go, oh, they're starting to get a little bit hatey on me now. They're starting to get a little bit angry. Well, go, okay, they're on phase 2 now, which is just violently opposed. No problems at all. I'm at peace with that. That's just their thing. I'm going to keep on going because I know phase 3 is self-accepted truth. So they begin to believe and have that truth themselves. So just realize that's absolutely okay. They go through stages. And as I said, internally we go through stages. So let's go through that one. When I sometimes say things to you or you start to research things, you start to educate yourself, you too will be pushing up against your own beliefs and values, just like other people. And that's absolutely okay as well. So what I want you to do is, go through the phases, it's okay, but also be an open-minded person. It's okay to be a bit of a cynic sometimes, but be an open-minded cynic at least. I mean, if you're cynic, it means you're just being closed off. You're being closed-minded. Be open to the possibilities of what we're able to do in the world. We all have special abilities. We all have the mind and body to aid us in getting us to where we want to be. So just, if you're going through those phases where you're feeling as if you're kind of hating on yourself because you're not making the changes, or you're ridiculing the process of something that you're doing. Maybe you read a book and you think, oh, that's ridiculous. I can't believe that person said that. I totally don't believe it. Don't take it on as truth, of course, but keep on just being aware and open-minded to what could happen. Be willing to try new things out. Obviously, things which are safe for you and good for you, but at least try things out and notice what happens. And then at least you go through those phases far more effortlessly, because you're taking the hate and you're taking the self-ridicule out of the situation, or the ridicule for the thing you're trying to learn, and you're just being open. So just be conscious of the process, because now you know the 3 phases. You can just be conscious of that. You can be conscious of that if you were in an argument with someone and you go, okay, I'm kind of really ridiculing this. I'm going to just kind of really step back on that, not take it as truth, but be open. Ask what else this could possibly mean. If you're in an argument or someone's saying something and it insults you, just consider, what else could this person possibly be trying to communicate to me? Because you might be surprised, it could be something completely different, but you've just received it in that way based on your own beliefs and your own values. I mean, it just happens. So the more we begin to be more open-minded as to what is possible, or at least other people's viewpoints, I mean, let's be open-minded, right? Because you could say, look, you have a map of the world. You have a certain map based on your own experience, based on your own beliefs, your own values, your own memories, your own decisions you made, and you begin to generate this map of the world, your perception of what is your own truth. But you see, that's just your map of the world. There's so much more territory out there. And if you think of that, there's all you can see right now, there's far more out there which you can possibly even understand in this moment. Exact same thing for me. There's so much things out there in the world I just cannot get my head around. Yet I'm at least open to consider certain things. Yes, I need more evidence sometimes, we all do. We need to practice certain things, of course we do. But at least if we can get ourselves in an open-minded state, we can at least begin to take on what might work and then just disregard other bits of information. So be just open-minded, because realize that your map of the world is not just the absolute map. There's actually more than that, and we gain that through experience, from learning, and from being open-minded. So I hope you enjoyed that today, the 3 phases of truth and how you can apply it in your life in terms of on yourself. So you to be more open-minded and realize that you may be going through the 3 phases, and that's okay. Sometimes the things I will say, my Facebook's just gone cut out for a sec. Oh, we're back on Facebook. We may be going through those 3 phases, and just be open with that and realize that, be gentle on yourself. It's okay, just be open-minded, but also realize that people will go through those as well. So if you have dreams and goals, you too may get ridiculed. You might get the haters, and that's okay. It's just other people's belief systems, other people's map of the world, other people's experiences of what is happening to them, and that's okay. It's none of your business necessarily. I don't think it's any of your business what people think of you. As long as you're doing good for yourself and good for the world, then I think we're all good there. But so don't worry about those things. Try not to allow it to be your personal objective. Try not to take on their belief systems, because after all, other people's belief systems are just based on their own experience of what they were told throughout their years. So they're just basing their belief system of what you can possibly do based on what they've been told and the experiences that they've been through. So it's absolutely a perception. It's how we're filtering the world around us. So if we begin to let go of that filter, or we begin to change a filter, think of Instagram or some kind of photo thing, you just change your filter, you see the picture differently. So be open-minded as to how you can change your filter. How else could I possibly see what this person is saying? How can I begin to realize that people just go through stuff, through those phases, and realize that's right, to keep on hustling away, doing what you do, and getting to where you want to be. So I really hope you enjoyed this, guys. If you did, go ahead and give me the hearts on Periscope. That's always helpful in the search engines. And also, thank you so much for all the shares on Facebook and also Periscope, of course. Now, you're going to be getting this video in a replay version, a higher quality, because I'm recording it on my my webcam too, and also, of course, the audio right down here, as you can see. And that'll be going out to my podcast and also my video on YouTube and things like that in the future. So